Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Daniel. This is Morning Tea. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Mm. So it seems that Morning Tea will now be Tuesday morning thing. Tuesday morning tea. I guess we could temporarily call it, but it's still morning tea. Fortunately or unfortunately, there's a lot of work, and only Tuesdays are my days where I can actually sit down and focus on morning tea, both in English and in Spanish. But I want to start off by thanking all of you who have messaged me and emailed me and wondering where morning tea is. Well, it's here. It's here. It's just there's some other stuff that's involved now and some other work that's come up, and I'm very excited. It's things that are going to help me in my career, and I will share with you as we go along. Plus, Tuesday I have my therapy on Monday, so Tuesday's a perfect time for me to be like really open with what's going on and be able to put that information out there for you guys. I want to start off by sending some good vibes and good wishes to Robert Kwan. He will be going into a surgery soon, I believe. And we chatted a little bit last night, but I was a little distracted, Robert. So pardon me if I get some of the details wrong. But I wish you all the best. And thank you for messaging me and thank you for your support. I'm so glad that Morning Tea has been able to be there for you and help you along the ways. And actually, today's Morning Tea is a request or a question from Robert, and he asked me how I came to be in Laguna Beach. And well, the reality is that my ex used to live in this complex, not in my apartment, but in this complex. And we were visiting in '08 to 2008. We were here for a couple of months, house sitting for a friend of his who still lives on the other side of the complex. And I was put on the waiting list for apartment. And when the apartment was offered to me, I wasn't sure if we were going to move or not. For those of you that follow Morning Tea, I lived in Houston before I moved here, and we were offered the apartment, and I wasn't sure if we wanted to take it or not. And now this is the how I decided, and where the messages started appearing for me, and I realized that there was something bigger than me to follow. I was watching TV. In fact, I was watching Samantha Who. I didn't really like the show, but the reason I was watching is because one of the Olsen twins was going to be on the show, and I wanted to see her act. Yes, I was a fan of the Olsen twins when they were kids. So I'm watching, and my email comes in, and it comes in twice. It's a repeat email. It says room 205 or number 205, and that's my apartment number. I'm talking with Bob on the phone, and on the TV behind me, one of the characters says, "Hey, don't I know you from somewhere?" And the other character goes, "Oh, I don't know." And she says, "Yes, room 205." And the other character goes, "Oh yeah, I know you from room 205." And I completely stopped in the middle of the conversation and looked over and rewinded, with the DVR button. I rewound it, and yeah, that's what they said. And I'm looking at my emails on the computer, and it says 205, 205, and I thought, we're moving. We're moving. So I back on the phone, and I told Bob, we're moving to California. And I was scared, and I was fearful, and I was nervous, and I was sad, and I didn't want to leave my friends. I had a sponsor, which I do still have a sponsor. I had my sponsor. My best friend Roger was there. I had some really dear friends. I had a really awesome support group for in recovery at Lambda there in Houston. Work was going well. Everything was so in place, and yet based on this message that I got, I decided that it was time to move and leave, and we came to California. Unfortunately, the relationship didn't last here in California. But one of the cool things that Bob and I talked about later on, was the fact that I felt like that was his purpose in my life. His role in my life was to bring me to California, somewhere where I would never have moved on my own. And I owe him that. I will always be indebted and grateful to him for the love that we shared at that time. And there's still that. He's my ex-love, and I still will always have a place for him in my heart. But at that time, I'm so grateful that there was the love was strong enough then that I would have followed him anywhere, and I followed him to California. Um, and so here I am, 3 years later, and some of the best things that had come out of that was my career really blossomed. My respect for him grew. He's the one that taught me I am perfect in my imperfection, and I always use that quote. I am perfect in my imperfection, and I think that was so wonderful. And I learned to tap into my spirit, and I learned to be courageous and to keep moving forward. And he taught me a little bit of sarcasm, and which I already knew some of myself, but he taught me about seeing the world from different angles. And we're still friendly. We're still on Facebook together. I've seen him through some of his relationships, and he's probably talked me off a couple of ledges. And but I definitely owe my living in California to Bob, and I will always owe it to him. Thank you, God, for putting him in my life, and giving me the opportunity to love that big and to love that strong. Had I not known what it was to love that great, that awesome size of love, I would not be here. And so thank you, Bob, if you're watching. Thank you, Bob, for bringing me to California and for being in my life during that time, and for continuing to be in my life. You will always be a source of inspiration for me, even though I may not say it often enough. So that's how I ended up here, and then now you see it. I mean, there's Morning Tea, English and Spanish. There's the podcast. There's Examiner. There's my blog. There is the film coming out, which I need to work on. Um, uh, and I will update you guys on that later on, but it's still in the go, and there's executive producers looking at my project, which I'm really excited about. But work your magic today, guys. I'm getting sleepy. I woke up late and I'm still sleepy, but it's day to work your magic and be connected with who you really are, and find out what makes you tick and what makes you work and what makes you function, so that you can share that with the world. And today I will share this before I leave, and it's just simply remember that you are perfect in your imperfections, and you need not to apologize for anything. So with that, guys, I'm going to leave you today, and I will see you next time. Cheers.